Hi, this tutorial is specifically for the members of our ministry who will be helping us to make our gift baskets next month. But whoever else finds this, valuable information, all the better. Okay, the first thing you're going to need on how to make a fold bow is, of course, a Bowdabra. They come in this box. I've been using these for a long time. I've been hand tying bows for a long time, but this helps me to actually do it quickly. And I do a lot of bows in bulk. So first thing you're going to need is this. Okay. Next thing you're going to need is wired ribbon. Okay, I've made bows with, other kinds of ribbon, but in order to make the very simplest of bows for our gift baskets, you're going to need wired ribbon. Okay, it's also a good idea. We're going to make two kinds of ribbons, two kinds of bows for this tutorial. When I can find it, we're also going to use the punch ribbon. I think they call this holographic or honeycomb, excuse me. This is honeycomb ribbon. It's actually metallic and it works like a wired. This is not wired, but it's easy to shape. So I'll be making a bow with this ribbon and with this ribbon. You're also going to need wire. Okay, bow wire. Bowdabra actually makes wire that comes with the unit, but they sell it like this unless you're on their website, and to me that's too big a bother to go through. And this does not take care of 100 bows. I'm going to need 100 bows for our outpouring. So what usually works for me is to get regular floral wire. This is 24 gauge and this is 26 gauge. Basically, it's wire that's thin enough to cut with scissors, but you don't want to cut with scissors. You're going to need a pair of wire cutters, a good pair of wire cutters that you can really grip. Don't get those smaller ones. They come smaller. Don't get those. This is a good size. And speaking of scissors, you're going to need a good sharp pair of scissors, okay, to cut your ribbon with. You're going to need to make very clean cuts, and you'll see why. Okay, first thing you're going to do is cut your wire. Now I've already cut a piece, but I want to show you how to do it. You're going to get a big paddle full of this ribbon, this wire. Okay. I like actually doing this in a way where you don't have to sit there with a ruler and measure stuff out. So the bow maker actually you can use for measuring. Well, that's how I do it. This is actually your bow wand. They use it to crunch down, ribbon. You can also use it as a measuring tool. So this is about the length of wire. Okay, this much times 2. Okay, that's a pretty good size. Before I cut it, I lay it down just so I'm not wasting any. I don't like to waste. So you take your wire, you curve it around. Hope you can see. To get it out of your way, you want to curve it around the unit, or you can curve it under. Because I work so fast, I usually do it this way because I move this so much. So you just want it out of your way. You take your wire cutters, and you cut off just as much as you need. Thank you for not working against me. Okay. Alright, then you have, get that out of the way. Then you have your ribbon. We're making ribbons, we're making bows that have tails already attached. We're not going to attach them separately. So you take your bow wand, you're going to do the length of your bow wand. That's how long your tail is going to be. And you're going to put that down right at the division. And I said that this was going to be a fold bow, which means your ribbon is the same print, same color on both sides. That's what makes this a good fold bow. We call it a fold bow because that's what you're going to do to make it. You're just going to make a loop, fold it over like this and push it down. Now, how long do I want it to be? You're still using this as your measuring tool. You only want to use this much ribbon to make your loop. You don't want it to go any further than this. It should not go past the edge of your bow maker, because I like nice tight loops. This works for our baskets. So you're just going to do that on both sides. A good sized bow is 6 to 8 loops. So it's like maybe 3 to 4 loops on each side. So that's what we're going to do. Just going to fold it over. Still keeping no longer than this on both sides. I'm working slowly now because I'm in teaching mode, but I normally do this very quickly. Once you get the hang of it, it takes me less than 2 minutes to make a bow, especially if it's a fold bow. Okay, now when you have about this much, let me see if I can, no, it's going to be shorter. I actually like that there's 4 here, 4 here. And this is actually long enough, matches the length of the other side. Okay, if you want to crunch it down like that, you put it in between and push it down. Usually when I'm working fast, I just push it down on both sides. If you want to do it the right way, you can just crunch it down like that. Scrunch it down, excuse me. Okay, now this is where we normally get into an issue when I'm teaching how to make a bow. Okay, I'm going to take that wire by both ends. This is the two, the free ends, and here's your loop. Okay, one hand for each end. You're going to bring up your work about halfway, or just enough so that you can bring that loop to the center of your unit there. You want both sides to meet, and you want to put your free ends through that loop. Like that. Then while holding your work, like both fingers here are holding this down, you're going to hold that down with this hand, and you're going to pull up with this hand. That makes you pull, and then you're able to pull it out. Okay, that makes your loops come out really well tied, just like a hand-tied bow. Now you see this? You got a stack of loops right now. What you want to do is you want to fan this out. Always have a problem with somebody who doesn't know how to do this. 2 fingers on this hand, 2 fingers on this hand. They're going to go in opposite directions. So you're going to twist this one that way, while these two go this way. And you're going to pull in a little bit more slack. Sometimes I just push down while pulling the wire up. Okay? And you have your basic shape right there. Okay? Now, the maker of the Bowdabra Bow maker here, they tell you about dovetailing. So let me give you a quick course in dovetailing. It's very easy, but somebody always gets it wrong. So what you're going to do, these two ends here are the back of your bow. So your tails, you're going to work your tails of your bow so that you're holding your bow. This is pretty much your basic shape. We haven't fluffed out the bow yet. We haven't fluffed out the loops. But when you dovetail, you take your ribbon and you fold it in half. Then you take your scissors. This is the easiest way I can think to teach it. You're going to cut on a diagonal towards the fold. Okay? Downward towards the fold. In a very clean cut. Like that. That creates this effect. If you do it the other way, this is going to be a point. Okay? Let's try it again. Fold it in half. And it's going to be towards the fold. Nice clean snip. You get a nice dovetail effect. Okay, the last thing I do is I fluff out the bows. I fluff out the loops. And what I mean by that, you stick your fingers in and you just part your fingers. That makes that fluff thing. I work with people who are, you know, they haven't done bows before, so if it seems I'm going a little too slow, it's because I want everybody to get this. So you're just going to fluff out your bows. Fluff out your loops. Excuse me, I keep saying loops when I mean bows. You're just going to fluff out your entire bow by fluffing out your loops. Very basic, very simple, very elegant. Okay? That's one kind of bow that we like to do. The other kind of bow that we're going to work on is a simple same fold bow, but with a different kind of ribbon. So, we get our okay, just had my wire and I just lost it. So I'm just going to make another. And my wire. Just repeating the steps, doing it a little faster. Okay. Using the same steps that I used before, only with a wider ribbon. Usually, when I'm by myself, I take this whole thing and I dump it on the floor so that I can just unroll this as I go. But because I'm trying to do this in the nice way, I'm going to leave my roll on the table and just unroll it the cute way. So we're just going to do a regular fold bow. Fold it over, push. We're going to do, since I really like these bows to be big, 8 to 10 loops is pretty good. 8 is good, when I'm being in a cheap mood. But if I really want spectacular bows, really big spectacular bows, 10 loops. 8 to 10 is good. So that's what I'm going to do. And they should still not be any longer than here. Because this ribbon is a little bit bigger, I go maybe this much. This is 1 inch long. I go maybe this much past the bow maker, but not much. because this is not cloth, it'll really hold its shape when you loop it. So that's the only reason I make it a little bit bigger. So, because I love this color, you will find out that my favorite color, if you don't already know, is royal blue. So I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. I'm going to go the whole 10 loops. Okay. Your last loop, since this is ribbon that's actually on the roll, I'll show you how I cut it off the roll. They don't have to match exactly. The tail ends here don't have to match exactly, but they do have to be close. Okay, I don't like waste, so I'm going to make it just a little bit. I'm going to cut it right about here. Okay, I want it just short enough to dovetail. So this one I'm actually going to scrunch down. Okay, and just to repeat the process with the loops, you bring your wire to the center. Take your free end of the wire, bring it through the loop of the wire. You're going to push the rest down. You're going to push your work down while pulling the wire up. Okay, and when the two pieces of wire meet inside here, then you can pull it up. I'm going to have a big old stack of loops. So that's why you push it. Take up that slack. Then same, 2 fingers. These fingers go that way. The other fingers go this way. That's how you fan out your loops. If you find it a little tough, see my hands are very big. Everybody else's hands, you know, women have really dainty hands. I don't have dainty women's hands. I have big kung fu grip kind of hands. So for those who won't be able to handle, you know, such a big load here, this kind of ribbon, you can actually, okay, I'm going to tighten up the back. You can fluff out and turn at the same time. That's why I like working, okay, just, you can fan them out, fan out your loops while they're still in your stack. So you just put them where you want them to go. Put your fingers in, to the bow, into the loop, spread them out. You put them where you want them to go. Put your tail down. Sometimes it wants to get away from you. But make sure that wire is tight. Okay, while this hand is working on the loops, the other hand is holding those loops by the wire. Okay, you don't lose control. Okay, I want to get my loops, my tails down. Fluff out the loops. See, one thing I may like to do, you know, a lot of crafting. One thing I don't like to do is sound like a Stepford wife. You know, I don't mind being one, I just don't want to sound like one. So you make it the way you want to make it. So this one's a little heavy on one side. There we are. This is a good sample of one of the bows that we like to do. Last thing to do is, of course, dovetail those ends. You can leave it like that if you want to, but if you leave it like that on one of our baskets, I'm going to dovetail the ends. So on this type, you're making this bow for us, dovetail the ends. When you fold it in half and you cut towards that fold. See, I like my bows to end like that. Okay. This is a typical bow, a typical size bow for our gift baskets. So if you have this ribbon already, you can practice, but even if you don't, practice on regular ribbon. It's the same kind of bow, and I hope you can help us out with making the bows. But if you can't, you can always help wrap the baskets, and that should be the next tutorial. So thanks a lot.